εξαιρετικό και σημαντικό και τέλειο αυτό το πρόγραμμα. Θα δώσω αμέσως το λόγο στον πρόεδρο κ. Gualtieri για να σας κάνει μια σύντομη ενημέρωση. Μετά θα υποβάλλετε τις ερωτήσεις σας, θα περάσω το λόγο στον Χρυσοπλίδη στη συνέχεια για να κάνει το control της συνεδριστή του. Παρακαλώ να λέτε πάντα το όνομά σας και το προσωπικό και κάτι που μπορείτε να ρωτήσω. Ευχαριστώ πολύ. Κύριε Πρόεδρε, έχετε το λόγο.
Thank you very much. Welcome to this press conference, which concludes our very intense, I have to say, positive and successful mission we had here in Athens. As you know, the Parliament has decided, also with the positive impulse of a letter of Prime Minister Tsipras and President Schulz, to enhance the level of democratic accountability of financial assistance programs and decided to establish a dedicated body for this purpose, which is the Financial Assistance Working Group, which has been successfully established under a decision of the Conference of Presidents with the aim to follow, not to, of course, be an executive body engaged in executive task, but to provide full parliamentary control to the financial assistance programs, macroeconomic adjustment programs. So we started our work with an economic dialogue in the Econ Committee with Finance Minister Tsakalotos. Now we had our first mission here in Athens, which has been, I have to say, as I said, very positive, and I would like to thank, of course, the European Parliament and Commission representative offices here in Athens, also the Greek authority for the welcome and their availability and openness that we had, which were also very high-level meetings. So we thank them also for that. As you know, we met Prime Minister Tsipras, the Finance Minister of Finance Tsakalotos, with his deputy, Economy Minister Stathakis, with his deputy, alternate ministers of labor, solidarity. We had an important exchange of view in the Greek Parliament, the European Affairs Committee and Economic Affairs Committee. We met also the New Democracy leader Mitsotakis, and today we had two very interesting meetings and exchange of view with the chairman of the Hellenic Republic Asset Development Fund, Pitsi Orlas, and with the governor of Bank of Greece. So quite a comprehensive program, which I think brings us to the conclusion that indeed the substantial progress has been made since the start of the program, and the cooperative attitude of the Greek institutions and of the European institution is very positive and constructive. I have to say that I have been particularly impressed by the Prime Minister and government determination to meet the commitments that his government took in terms of structural reform and fiscal targets, and at the same time pursue a balanced approach between stability, growth, and social fairness. So we met also the Commission representative, Mr. Costello, and of course it's not our role to enter into the final stage of the review negotiation, but our general impression is positive. We really do hope that this first review will be concluded soon. It is important, it is possible, it is necessary. It will not only allow important measures to be taken, but also give an extraordinarily important signal of confidence to the exterior, including the financial markets, also with some very concrete consequences in terms of waiver, quantitative easing, capital controls, and so on, all elements which can provide through reintegration of risk into the financial markets. And as you know, and this for us is also a central piece of the package, successful conclusion of the review would and should allow also to agree on the debt relief component, which is necessary also to give a long-term perspective of stability to the investors, which is possible, you know, with some limits. We are not talking about haircuts, but of some element of debt relief that could be important. So this is the general framework. We know that there are discussions on a number of elements, some of which are, of course, important, sensitive. We encourage all the sides to cooperate, to make the last efforts to reach an agreement. We understand that there is a broad consensus between the Greek authorities and the European institution about the dimension of the target. For instance, we talk about famous fiscal gap to allow the 3.5% of primary surplus to be reached by 2018. We are talking about around 3%. The estimation we found the same. So we know that there are other institutions which are more radical analysis, but the fact that there is consensus between the European institutions and the Greek ones is encouraging for us. It seems that it is more reasonable figures and target that would allow a sufficiently gradual element of fiscal consolidation, also taking into account the great amount of fiscal consolidation and rebalancing that has been taken so far. I have to say, Governor Bank of Greece just today gave us a positive picture about the fundamentals of the Greek economy in terms of very imbalances which have been basically addressed, while of course Greece has stock problems in terms of NPL, in terms of unemployment, in terms of debt, but it's more a legacy element, it's new imbalances. So this, generally speaking, is encouraging, and the fact that the figures, as you know, of the GDP are 2004 and 2015 are better than expected in terms of previous estimation, should confirm the fact that we should stick to the figures that were in the memorandum in terms of initial measure chart. Then, of course, as you know, there is discussion of the composition of this measure for the fiscal gap adjustment, and of course we will enter into detail, and we understand that an important component of the successful program is the level of ownership of reforms. We understand that the new pension reform is very ambitious and is based on the Greek model, and that is in itself an element. And of course there are some aspects of which there are negotiation which I don't enter and only comment, but generally speaking, as I said, our attitude is positive. We are encouraged. We also have been impressed, my members have been impressed by the meeting this morning with the Asset Development Fund chairman about the ambitious privatization and asset management, because there are also program of the fund and the perspective of creating a new fund which will have a broad portfolio asset which could in itself allow more effective management of assets. So I said this because, as we know, the review is a crucial step, but then of course there is a more long-term strategy in terms of growth, employment, improvement of public administration, and I think that Greece is moving in the right direction, and we will of course closely monitor the next step. Thank you. I'm ready for any questions.
Ναι, παρακαλώ με την σειρά, θα λέτε το όνομά σας και το μέσο για να σας απαντήσει. Θα κάνουμε 3 ερωτήσεις στην αρχή. Ωραία, με τη σειρά τρεις πρώτες ερωτήσεις.
Ονομάζομαι Μαρία Κουμπέλη, είμαι δημοσιογράφος, εργάζομαι σε Σοσιαλιστή. Θα ήθελα να κάνω την εξής ερώτηση. Βέβαια, εκφεύγω λίγο του κεντρικού θέματος του προγράμματος που σας αλλά θέλω να αξιοποιήσω την παρουσία σας εδώ. Γνωρίζουμε ότι το πρόγραμμα, την διερευνητική και την εγκατάσταση έχουν και ήδη ευρωπαϊκό νόμο, δηλαδή κανονισμό, ο οποίος ήδη ισχύει. Θα ήθελα να ρωτήσω γιατί ενώ ορισμένες χώρες δεν τον εφαρμόζουν τον κανονισμό αυτό, δεν έχει ακόμη κινηθεί η διαδικασία που παραβάσει από την Ευρωπαϊκή Επιτροπή στο Δικαστήριο της Ευρωπαϊκής Ένωσης. Αυτή είναι η ερώτηση μου. Ευχαριστώ.
Ευχαριστώ. Κύριε Επιστημονή.
Ήθελα να ρωτήσω. Ναι, κυρία Εξονομάγοντα, ναι. Ήθελα να ρωτήσω κατά πόσο πιστεύετε ότι από την ενημέρωση που σας έκανε ο κύριος Κοστέλο αλλά και οι κυβερνητικοί αξιωματούχοι με τους οποίους μιληθήκατε, κατά πόσο πιστεύετε ότι το θέμα της ρύθμισης του χρέους μπορεί να έρθει νωρίς, έτσι ώστε στις 22 Απριλίου στο Eurogroup να είναι λυμμένο και αυτό το θέμα και να συνυπογράψει το IMF την ολοκλήρωση αξιολόγησης, ή πιστεύετε ότι θα πάει μετά από την ενημέρωση που είχατε, επομένως θα έχουμε μια συμφωνία μόνο με την Ευρώπη και το δούλου θα ακολουθήσει.
Σοφία Δέλτσα από Ραγκά. Θα ήθελα...
Only three.
Okay. Now I'm going to do one.
Next we'll do one by one.
Okay, may I ask? Λοιπόν, θα ήθελα να ρωτήσω εάν από τις ίδιες συναντήσεις και τον κύριο Κοστέλο βγάλατε κάποιο συμπέρασμα για το αν η Επιτροπή είναι διατεθειμένη να δεχτεί χαλαρότερους στόχους για το πρωτογενές πλεόνασμα μέχρι το 2018, εφόσον το Διεθνές Νομισματικό Ταμείο επιμένει στην εκτίμηση ότι δεν βγαίνουν οι στόχοι και πρέπει να χαλαρώσουν.
Thank you. Relating to the first question, it was not the topic of our mission, but nonetheless it's a very essential point you made. Indeed, all members of the European Union should implement the decision and apply the rules, the common rules. We as a Parliament, very strong, clear line on that. Of course, it's not up to us. We are not an executive body, we are not an enforcer, but our position is very clear, and this general refugee migration crisis shows that no single country can give an answer alone, and we should all contribute to our common policy in this area, with also adequate level of solidarity, burden sharing, especially taking into account that the borders of some countries are at the same time the borders of the Union, and these are common rules, and that's why we strongly support also the proposal of the Commission of establishing Coast Guard and common border management, common asylum policy. So we have, of course, emergencies and some measures that are important, also including the security agreement, and of course we have a long-term goal of a more structural improvement in our governance that requires, of course, full capacity to implement the common rules, and all means should be used, the legal means to reach this goal. Coming to the two questions which are very close, so what we as I said, I think that it is very important that the review will be concluded in time, that we respect this deadline. So we hope that it will be the case. My impression is that this is possible. It is at hand, let's say. You mentioned some you made reference to fiscal loosening, but I would not use this expression because these are the figures that are from the memorandum. We are not talking about loosening, we are talking, on the contrary, of some opinion I've read in the blog of an important IMF economist, which I don't know the status legally they have, but we're talking about additional fiscal, so not tightening. So we are not talking about loosening, but tightening. I don't think that we need to tighten. I think that we need to stick to the framework that was agreed, and of course, on the other hand, I think the Greek government should take all the measures to meet the requirement and fulfill the commitment that we take into and sign in memorandum. So these are the elements. My impression, of course, again, we should clarify, distinguish the role. I cannot speak on behalf of the Commission. Make a question of the Commission to the Commission, and of course I cannot let's say enter into the details also of all the meeting, but my impression is that, as I said, the differences that have to be reached are not so unsurmountable that to justify a postponement, a delay, further delay. We can conclude, I think we must conclude, and I think, I hope, and I think I hope we shall conclude, and I hope we will conclude. So that's my evaluation, my impression. Of course, it's an ambitious timeline, also because it has to include also the debt-related component, which, as we all know, is particularly sensitive, and we have also to be aware that we are talking about a very great, significant program with very big numbers. So we are not talking about something minor. This is a major component, I would say, of EMU governance, a crucial step where we are. But as I said, my general impression is positive. Of course, this requires that all actors do their part, move, take the appropriate necessary measures, but the positive outcome is realistic, it's possible, and I think it will be, I hope it will be achieved.
Επόμενη ερώτηση, παρακαλώ.
Παρακολουθώντας τα όσα γίνονταν στο Ευρωπαϊκό Κοινοβουλίο αρκετό καιρό, οι Ελληνικούς που έχουν και διορθώστε να μην είναι έτσι, είναι ότι αυτό που κυρίως θα ήθελε η ελληνική πλευρά από τη συγκεκριμένη επιτροπή, την καθοδήγησή σας, είναι να εξελιχθεί σε ένα είδος ελεγκτή των ελεγκτών. Θέλω να σας ρωτήσω κατά των ελεγκτών της Τρόικα. Και θέλω να σας ρωτήσω εάν όντως υπάρχει τέτοιο περιθώριο, τουλάχιστον στο βαθμό που μπορείτε να δώσετε μια μεγαλύτερη δημοσιότητα στα όσα γίνονται εδώ από την πλευρά της Τρόικας.
Auditing is a very specific task. Our aim is broader, let's say. It's not just auditing, and not specifically auditing in a technical term, is democratic control, parliamentary accountability. We have now better legal framework, which is the two-pack legislation, which already foresees some procedure within the EU legal framework. This is a step forward, but it's not enough. That's why we decided not only to fully implement the provision of the two-pack in terms of monetary dialogue and confidential briefing with the Commission, what we were already doing, but to create a dedicated body to have, from an operational point of view, but also from a political point of view, and stronger capacity to have a role because we are talking about crucial, essential function at the EU level, which even, and this is an element of the not completed EMU construction, are based on also an intergovernmental leg, which is the ESM, which is, for legally speaking, outside the EU legal order, but de facto within the EU framework, and which has, let's say, a more intergovernmental governance, is not legally accountable to Parliament and ESM, but we think that the crucial element, the executive bodies, should be the Commission, and the Commission is accountable to the Parliament. And that's why, as the Commission is a very strong role in this, we first, vis-à-vis to the Commission, establish a body which can permanently dialogue with the Commission. And then, of course, we also dialogue with the other bodies. We have discussion at the ESM, and we want also to discuss with the country involved. In this case, Greece. This is a financial system working group is for all potential financial system progress, not dedicated to Greece, but I think it's an important step forward toward a more democratic economic governance. And economic governance, which is not democratic, is not effective. So I think that we are contributing also not only to the transparency, which is a value in itself, but also to the efficacy of our democratic governance, where we know a lot has to be done. With the President report, there is the need of deepening the news, so we are fully committed. That as a body, as an Economic and Monetary Affairs Committee, in this dialogue. But then we cannot wait that we have a more genuine EMU. We have immediately to announce the democratic quality of financial assistance programs. So I think President Tsipras did the right thing in taking this initiative and writing to President Schulz, and I think the Parliament did the right thing in taking a decision and establishing a new body for this purpose.
Καλό μεσημέρι. Ονομάζομαι Τόπας, εργάζομαι στο Sky. Θέλω να μου πείτε... Λοιπόν, ονομάζομαι Τόπας, εργάζομαι στο Sky. Θέλω να μου πείτε ποια μεταρρύθμιση από αυτές που έχει εφαρμόσει η ελληνική κυβέρνηση θεωρείται πιο σημαντική και γιατί. Και επίσης εκφράσατε την αισιοδοξία της ότι η Ελλάδα κινείται στη σωστή κατεύθυνση. Αυτό είναι και η κυβέρνηση, ότι σύντομα η ελληνική οικονομία θα κινηθεί σε τροχιά ανάπτυξη ξανά. Ωστόσο, τα μηνύματα που έρχονται από την οικονομία την πραγματική δεν είναι και ιδιαίτερα ευχάριστα και σας αναφέρω ενδεικτικά ότι ο οργανισμός που εκπροσωπεί τις μικρομεσαίες επιχειρήσεις στην Ελλάδα, ή ένας από τους οργανισμούς τέλος πάντων, που οι μικρομεσαίες επιχειρήσεις είναι το 80 με 90% στην Ελλάδα τουλάχιστον, προβλέπει ότι το επόμενο εξάμηνο θα κλείσουν περίπου 20.000 ακόμη μικρομεσαίες επιχειρήσεις. Και πολλές εξ αυτών δεν έχουν και πρόσβαση σε πίστοση και θα καθούν και αρκετές χιλιάδες νέες θέσεις εργασίας. Άρα θα ήθελα λίγο να μας εξηγήσετε από πού πηγάζει η αισιοδοξία που εκφράσατε. Μόνο από το γεγονός ότι τα στοιχεία του ΑΕΠ θα είναι, όπως φαίνεται, κάπως καλύτερα από τα αναμενόμενα. Ευχαριστώ.
I think that optimism means that situation is improving and can improve, not that situation is fine. This is a clear distinction about what optimism means. We all know, and you know clearly far better than I do, the problems, difficulty of the Greek economy, and the fact that Greece experiences one of the biggest recession in the history. And then we all know what happened last year, where an additional political crisis triggered financial crisis, which had also an impact on the real economy. These are facts that are well known, and But my understanding, and I said we were not just our evaluation, I mentioned the discussion with Roberto Gualtieri and all the team of the Bank of Greece of economists, their analysis, which are very convergent, I have to say, the analysis of the European Commission, is that we have economic difficulty in Greece, we have downside risk, yes, we have a big stock of non-performing loans, we have a carryover effect of the crisis of difficult last months also in the real economy, so we have an improving situation, but we still have in the deeper a lot of problems and trends, but at the same time there has been a substantial adjustment both in terms of fiscal imbalances than current account. There has been an improvement of export. There is a positive trend. The GDP figures, as I said, appear to be, we cannot say better than expected, we can say less bad than expected, but still better than expected. And the evaluation that I think we are having is that the positive conclusion of the review would surely also give a strong signal in terms of confidence to the market. Is this sufficient to solve all the problems of the economy? No. There are problems, moreover, there are problems which are specific of Greece, and there are problems which are European problems. Europe needs to do more for growth, more for jobs, more for social cohesion. We need a proper governance, we need to complete the banking union, we need to address a lot of problems. And my personal view, my political affiliation is that the policies of the past year were not the right one. And now it's possible that the Juncker Commission is following a more balanced line, a more growth-friendly approach, and there are still a lot of, let's say, issues to address. I'm Italian, and you know the position of my country related to flexibility, so I'm not absolutely someone who thinks that the situation is perfectly okay. I'm just saying that Greek economy is improving, and the conclusion of the review is possible and would have surely a very strong and positive effect. And then we all will have to address our internal, national and common European problems in order to put all Europe back on track. But there is an element which is, we discussed again this morning. Europe is in a big imbalance at the European level, a clear more savings than investment. We have a lot of money in Europe and not enough investment. And we have financial tightness in some countries, like Greece, for a number of reasons. Now, full reintegration of Greece into the EU mechanism and financial markets could be considered even a physical phenomenon, could meet this strong demand of investment and also business opportunity. We are here with this huge amount of resources that are not coming because of too high risk that so far, because of the crisis, because of banking review, is seen in the Greek economy. And then, of course, the fact that the QE is not including Greece, the waiver has not been established, capital control even is smart and even with us there. So the removal of those constraints, I think, can have a very strong positive effect. This is not sufficient. I think the general, more growth-friendly attitude of European policies is in any case required, a need. But this change, this component could have a very significant effect, is my interpretation, let's say, and this is after the discussion we had. Of course, we had also more critical views, more